Alright, so hello everyone and welcome to this video. So in this video we are going to be demonstrating how we can use Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and create a web server on which we can serve a website completely for free. So we are going to use Oracle Cloud's free tier account, and on that account we are going to start by creating a virtual cloud network, and then after that we are going to configure the security list, and then we are then going to create an instance in that virtual cloud network, and then on that compute instance we will then install a web server like Apache HTTP. So without any ado, let's jump into it. So we are going to go to our browser and type cloud.oracle.com. So I already have an Oracle Cloud free tier account. If you do not have a free tier account, you can just go to Google and type OCI free tier, and then you follow the first link to register an account. Straightforward process. So once you are done, once you get an account, you are going to come on Oracle Cloud, that is cloud.oracle.com, and then you connect, you enter your tenancy name here, click on next. Then it's going to be default here, though I have other identity domains here, but it's going to be default. So you allow it on the default and click on next. That is if you are a new user. And then you'll sign in. So as you can see here, it clearly states that I am on a free tier account. So I have access to limited resources, but those resources are free for me forever. So once we are connected to our account, the first thing we are going to do is that we'll click on the hamburger menu right here, and then we are going to click on networking, and then we are going to choose virtual cloud networks. Once we are here, we are going to click, we can use the create VCN. If we use this option, then it's going to, like after creating the virtual cloud network, we are going to manually create a private and a public subnet. We are going to, we have to manually create everything. But if we use this start wizard, and that's what we're going to use, it's going to automatically create some things for us. Like right here on this diagram you see here, it says that it's going to create a kind of, this is a VCN is going to create, and it's also going to create us an IG, that is an internet gateway that's going to expose any resource that we can choose to expose any resource found on the public subnet to the internet. That is going to receive requests from the internet, and it will be able to send requests to the internet. It's also going to create us a NAT gateway, and the NAT gateway is used generally in a private subnet, and it's going to be used just to send requests to the public internet. And then we are going to have the service gateway. Service gateway is just to make requests to Oracle Cloud Services. So in brief, that's what it's going to do for us. So once we are here, we allow everything default and we click on start VCN. All right, so now we're going to enter the name of the VCN. I'm just going to call it Git Code Tech. And then if you just create an account, you don't have to bother about compartments. But if you know what compartments are and if you've been using it, then make sure you're in your working compartment. So it says that it's going to configure a VCN with a CIDR block range of /16. That's okay. And then the public subnet of this CIDR block range, and this for the private subnet. So everything's okay there. We're just going to click on next, and then we check if everything's okay, and we click on create. All right, so it says done. We can click on view in order to see what we have just created. Alright, so this is our VCN that we just created. As you can see here, this is the private and the public subnet, and then we have other resources, other services that are configured here already for us. We have the security list, that's very important. We're going to come on that later. We have the internet gateway, have the routing tables. So once we are done with our network, the next thing we're supposed to do now is to create our instance, our compute instance. In order to do that, we click on the hamburger menu. We're going to go on compute, and then we are going to click on instances. Alright, so right now I have no instance running, so creating an instance is very simple. We'll click on create instance, and then on the instance, as we're going to enter a name, let me just call it Git Protect. Yes, Git Protect Server. Just take this on Git Protect Server, and we have the compartment, working compartment. We have in my region I have 3 availability domains, so you can pick any of those depending on the region you find yourself. So any of those is okay. Security, that's of no importance to us here. And then we have the image here. So right here we are going to choose the image. So right now it is set by default to Oracle Cloud, to Oracle Linux 8, but that's not what we're going to use. So we can change image, and if we want to install want to create an instance of an Ubuntu instance, so click on Ubuntu and we choose an image. So I'm going to choose Conical Ubuntu 2004. So I'll pick this one, and you can see here it says always free eligible. It means that it is available. That is because of the fact that I'm using a free tier account. I can use only resources that are eligible for only free, and it says this is available for that. So once I've ticked this, I'll click on select image. So the image is going to get selected here. So that's the image I just selected, and then you will also need to come right here and choose the shape that you want to use for that image. So the shape here, it may be by default on Ampere. Yeah, it may be Ampere, just that at times when trying to create an instance on the Ampere, it is highly solicited resource, so you may have errors, like it may not be available. So generally you just come and pick this one, though it is less powerful, but then it makes everything run faster. Like you create your instance immediately. So pick this, and once you select this and you come here and you select this shape here, take this. Technically the only shape you have is select this. So it is coming with the one processor, 1 GB of memory, and that's quite it. So we just click on select shape. So we've selected the image and the shape. We now have to configure the network. Remember, we created a virtual cloud network, and the name of that virtual cloud network was this, Git Protect. So we make sure we're in the correct compartment, and then we are going to choose where we want to place our instance. Is it in a public or a private subnet? So because we want to use this as a web server, it definitely have to be in a public subnet. So by default it's there already in the public subnet. That's okay. And of course we want to assign it an IP address, an IPv4 address. That's okay. And then now we have to look to create to add an SSH key. So to create an SSH key, we can use, like, if we are on Windows right now, we can just use PuTTY. So with PuTTY we can create an SSH key, and then that SSH key we are going to come right here and click on paste, copy it, come right here and paste it. So this will come over there pasted already, but for the sake of simplicity we are just going to click generate here, and then we click on save. So we're going to save the private key. Let me just save on my desktop, and then we're going to save the public key. I'll save that on my desktop. Alright, so once we get that done, I think everything is complete here. Here we are going to select in transit. I used to say that it is going to encrypt data that is coming into and out of our instance. That's technique. And live migration is nice to have that selected, because if Oracle is going through some maintenance or something of that nature, they're going to migrate your services to your resources to another region or another availability domain. Alright, so once we are done with everything, we click on create. So our instance has been created, and now it is technically provisioning our instance. So once that is done, we'll now connect to it. We're going to SSH into that. I'll be able to make it a web server. So as you can see here, it has already given us an IPv4 address. So this is the IPv4 address that we can use to communicate through the public internet to our web server. So let's just copy it for now. We're just going to copy it, and while it is provisioning, we are going to, let's check our virtual cloud network. I'll go on the hamburger menu, and this is virtual cloud network. I'll click on that. So I'll click on the cloud network, on the virtual cloud network created, and then remember I said our instance is inside the public subnet. So check the public subnet. So this is our public subnet. So as you can see here, it has what we call security list. So this security list, this default security list, if you check like if you just go back, and you check here security list. We have two security lists here. We have the security list for private subnet, and we have the default security list. This is the one for public subnet. Good. So if we go back, we'll have the public subnet, and then we'll see here this is the default security list. So we're going to click on that default security list, and we're going to see the rules that are set by default. So by default, you can see that by default it is allowing connection from anywhere connection from anywhere to TCP port 22. That's technically the SSH port that we use to connect via SSH. So this is going to serve us. So before we continue, let's just try to see if our instance has already been provisioned. Let's check that. Alright, so it says running, so everything is created. Our instance has been provisioned, and we can, it says here running, we can make use of it. Alright, so we're going to check the IPv4 address. Here is it. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to launch our CMD, and then let's just try to see if it can send a ping request over there. So let's say ping to our IP address. That is the IP address of our instance. I just copied it. Let's see if you can do a ping. So as you can see here, it is not responding to ping requests. So let us fix that, just to understand exactly what we're doing, and to know the power of to understand the power of security lists. So we're going to go into our virtual cloud network. We're going to get in there. We are going to get into the public subnet, and then we're going to check the default security list of the public subnet. So let us add an ingress rule. So ingress rule are rules that govern rules that are going to govern traffic that are getting into our instance. Those are ingress rules. And I also have egress rules that are rules that are going to govern communication, that is traffic that is leaving our instance to anywhere else. So we are going to add an ingress rule. So we're going to it is a CIDR, of course, that is a classless interdomain routing. So that's good and fine for us. That's what Oracle uses. And then we're going to set the source. The source is going to be from anywhere on the internet. That is 0/0. And then because we want to do a ping, so let's say okay, we are permitting ping requests from anywhere, and ping is using ICMP protocol. So we're going to select that, and then we say create. So I'll allow everything default, and we say create. Say add ingress rule. So here is the ingress rule. Let's check our CMD again, and let's run that same command and see if it works. So as you can see right now, we are receiving a reply. So our ping is working perfectly. So that is the power of security rules. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do now is to connect to our instance, because we have this rule here that permits us to do so. So let's go where we have our instance. We're going to click here and click on instances, and then we are going to copy the public IP address of our instance. So right now, in order to connect to our instance, there are many ways we can do that. We can use this same tool POTSI here in order to do that, because on Windows. On Mac, we can just use the command line. On Linux, the same thing. But right here on Oracle Cloud, it gives us what we call some developer tools here, and we have a cloud shell. So we can actually use this cloud shell in order to connect via SSH to our instance. So we're going to click on cloud shell. Alright, so now we are in our cloud shell. So the first thing we are going to do is we are going to import we're going to upload those keys. Remember, we created some SSH keys when we were creating our instance, so we're going to import that.